This is Comic Picks by the Glick, and here's your host, Jason Glick.
Yeah, and here I am. And here I am talking about my absolute favorite comic being published today. And I'm not talking about just like Japanese comics or American comics in general. I'm talking about comics, period. It's like whenever I hear a new volume of this is announced, I am all over this like white on rice. It's like, this is Blade of the Immortal by Hiroaki Samura. And more than any other comic book, I look forward to a new volume of this being published than anything else. Because in comparison to like just about anything else being published, I mean, it's got an ongoing storyline that just like compels me, and it interests me more than anything else that's going out there. I mean, it's got the great art, but it's also got an ongoing story that gets my attention. I mean, it's basically it plays with you who's at the moral high ground in this situation, who's the hero, who's the villain, and like. So, okay, the short version is it's about an immortal samurai who's out to help this one girl avenge her family's death at the hands of this maverick samurai faction who wants to destroy all the sword schools in Japan in order to prove that they're the greatest. The long version is more complex than that because as the immortal samurai Manji and his charge, the girl whose samurai was killed, Rin, find out, I mean, it's like just because you want to actually go out and kill these people who've killed your family, it's not
as easy as it seems.
No, it's not easy as it seems. And like but the way the series has been paced so far, I mean, I don't think this is intentional on Samura's part, but it's got the feeling that this is going to be an act in 3 parts with an intermission between acts 2 and 3. First act comprises volumes 1 through 7, where you find the basis of the story. You're introduced to all the main characters. You find out that, the villain piece, Anatsu Kagehisa, head of the Ito Ryu, the sword school that killed Rin's parents. Yeah, he's a bad guy. He's a bastard. But he's got his own reasons for wanting to do this. And also he finds out that Rin's motives and the way she's changing as a person in order to combat him aren't necessarily for the best as well. Second act basically involves Rin and Manji being separated, and them fighting their own battles as they come together again. Now, this next part is the intermission. Now, for those of you at home, you realize that an intermission is basically to provide entertainment or just like take a bathroom break between stories. Right. Basically, it's a monkey bouncing on a beach ball while juggling knives. Just provide entertainment while you're just like waiting for the next part.
Exactly.
And yeah, that's. I will say that one hand, yeah, that's kind of what this arc of the series is about. But to be general, the this arc of the series, which I refer to as the prison arc, is basically what I call the Final Fantasy VIII of Blade of the Immortal arcs. Now, I say Final Fantasy VIII. I'm assuming some familiarity with the Final Fantasy series of video games. I think it's the gold standard for console RPGs. But when it comes to Final Fantasy VIII, I mean, prior to this series, the series has been like every part of the series has been just like the gold standard. I mean, this is what you want in an RPG, like period. But then you Final Fantasy VIII, and yeah, it's good, but when you compare it to the other series, it's not as good. And so what I'm saying here is, yeah, it's a good effort. It's a so-so effort by the standards of its series, but it's still better than everyone else's best efforts. And that's what I call that's what the volumes 15 through 21 of Blade of the Immortal are.
And that pretty much defines this intermission.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because on one hand it's basically an extended look at one of the brewing subplots of the series, because while Manji's an immortal samurai, his immortality has attracted various, the interests of various people, of one person from the shogunate, Habaki Kagimura, one of the reigning lords there, and he has basically managed to get his hands on Manji's immortal body, starting in volume 15, Trickster, and he's going to experiment on him to find out how to implant his immortality into other people. And that's the crux of this whole arc right here. Now, while Manji disappears and he's been in prison for this time, his partner Rin is trying to figure out what's happened to him during this time. Now the way these volumes play out, I mean, you can tell he's got a plan for this But the problem, I think the main problem with this series, why, is that it takes one aspect of the series and plays it for far too long. Because on one hand, like 7 volumes, that's a little excessive by anyone's standards. I mean, like on one hand, like a lot of these volumes are satisfying by themselves. They offer a lot of the swordplay the series is noted for, like especially in volume 15, Trickster, and volume 18, the Sparrow Net, and especially in volumes 20 and 21, which wrap up the arc. There's a lot of great entertaining stuff that'll keep you occupied throughout the whole of this arc. But the problem is, the main problem is with this arc is that Samura has what are best described as some guro or excessively violent to the point of disgustingness tendencies. That he's managed to keep in check he's managed to either A, keep in check throughout the course of the series, or B, exploit them in a fashion that just makes you go, holy crap, I didn't see that coming. Like when one of the characters when the series' one true villain carves off, after he loses his hand, carves off the part of the flesh on one of his arm in order to make a stabbing implement with his bones. All the better to surprise his enemies with. And that's the kind of stuff that's like, it's disgusting, but on one hand it's like, oh, that's
hardcore.
Yes, yes. But with this arc, I mean, like you're dealing with with Manji being cut up repeatedly, and all the other people who are subject to these experiments just finding out that like there's like just you can't just like cut off Manji's arms and legs, graft them onto some other guys, and expect them to just give him immortality as it is. I mean, you're just going to get like some really disgusting stuff, like having one guy have his arms have Manji's arms just grafted onto him, and then realize, oh man, it's like, Doc, man, my arms, they can't move. Take off the bandages. That's some serious gangrene you got there. Oh, and there go your arms. Yeah, it's seeing a guy's arms slow off in front of him. I mean, that's some crazy stuff right there. And I get the feeling that he is kind of indulging himself, that Samura is indulging himself for a lot of this stuff right here. That he's taking a look at medieval Edo period medicine practices, and then just applying them to Manji's body right here. But it's not all a lost cause, because it's great to see a Manji display his creativity even while he's captured in prison, because even though he's a great swordsman, a lot of the series he winds up getting his ass handed to him repeatedly. But here it's like he has to display a lot of this strategy as a swordsman, for instance, trying to get out of captivity, and his crowning moment, hiding okay, well, that's probably spoilers right there, but let's just say that he winds up using a hairpin in a very unique way to escape captivity, and it causes the captor to lose an eye in the process. But I think the real heart of the story here is with Rin's development, because even though she starts off as like a helpless girl who's got some smarts, who's just trying to like avenge her family, and then finding out that's not as easy as you'd expect in this process. With here, she's got to do all the hard legwork in order to get into the prison where Manji is being held, and free him in the process. Now, she has help along the way, because while this is going on, Anotsu Kagisa's Ito Ryu faction is just kind of laying low after they have their numbers decimated in the last arc. And as this goes, Rin has introduced 2 of their members. Isaku, a half Japanese, I believe he's half Filipino, half Filipino son of a missionary, and Doa, a girl of the Ezo tribe, the people who occupy the Hokkaido Island before Japan came and took it over. Now, I get the feeling that with Doa, she is kind of Samura's way of introducing a moe, or just a really cute feisty girl to the Blade of the Immortal universe. Like with Samura overseeing her creation, though, and yeah, she's cute, she's feisty, but she is also capable of taking your head off. So even if you look at her wrong, so just the fact that she's a very violent, person who sees killing as like the first recourse just about any situation makes her a far more interesting character than if she had just been considered, oh, I'm so cute, look at me, I can use swords,
Right.
type of character. Yeah, and seeing her interaction with Rin over the course of the arc, how she actually eventually like warms up to her, how they both warm up to each other, is one of the series' more interesting parts. Yeah, but the problem is with this arc, you get 7 volumes, you're going to encounter some padding in here,
Yeah.
regardless of the thing. And the worst example of this is volume 19, the Badger Hole, represents the last part of Blade of the Immortal that actually serialized in single issues from Dark Horse before they went to straight to trade paperback. It's basically Rin Doa and some poor guy they found outside the cave that led into the into the cavern where Manji is being held. It's especially them going in through there, finding out that, oh wait, there's some traps and some bad people in here, and that's it. Even with the fact that this arc should have been condensed very much, this is the one volume 19 that tried my patience more than anything else. However, volumes 20 and 21, Demon Lair parts 1 and 2, really bring a smashing end to the series, because as Kagimura is experimenting on, is ordering Manji's experimentation, overseen by this one Dr. Brando, who's a Japanese guy who escaped Japan in the Edo period, which, this was something that was not allowed during that time, to study Western medicine. He's got some very unconventional plans for seeing how this stuff is done, and that includes seeing involving the shogunate's executioner, Yamada Seimon, who's some of you read Dark Horse manga might know as a protagonist from Kazuo Koike and Goseki Kojima's Samurai Executioner, to chop off these guys' limbs to reattach them to Manji's. And Samura's version of Seimon is very different from Kojima's, because Kojima showed him as a very honorable, manly executioner. Samura portrayed him as a midget who also has supernatural sword skills. Well, crazy sword skills. Who also likes to take people's livers because he views them as a nice restorative or cure all medicine type thing. And his plan for Manji is to take him back to his place, to have a guy who continually regenerates his liver, so he'll have enough medicine to set him up for the rest of his life. And the final confrontation in Demon Lair parts 1 and 2 between Manji and Seimon is brilliant. I mean, and also through the final fight between because Brando also decides to, hey, you know what? While I'm doing all this stuff, why don't I just create a guy who uses immortality as part of battle, an invincible sword fighter who can tear apart anyone in battle. And that's also what we get in Demon Lair Volume 2, where Manji and Doa team up to take out this immortal swordsman that Brando has created. And it's an incredible fight scene. I mean, that's the other thing. The fight scenes in this series, more than anything else, are truly works of art.
Interesting.
And you're seeing him just keep seeing somewhere create these epic battles of give and take. I mean, it's not just like, oh, the hero's gonna get beat on before he comes back and fights this delivers this killing blow. No, the good guys and the bad guys, they're just going at it back and forth, and before the good guys just finally, or the protagonists anyway, finally pull out that final blow that manages to take them out. But now, while Demon Lair 2 does wrap up this particular arc, it does so in a way that manages to bring you in for the next arc as well, because it also heralds a proper return of the series' one main villain. Because while Anotsu is essentially the series' antagonist, he's working cross purposes to Manji and Rin. There's a character named Shira, who, if you've read the series, you'll know who he is. But he's also a guy who was part of a mercenary group hired by Kagimura, a series of prisoners who was recruited by Kagimura to take out whoever who dictated. Shiro was a guy who just loved his job of killing people. He's a guy who had a sword. One side was smooth, the other side was serrated like a saw, so he could just inflict maximum pain on his victims. Manji took out his hand, and he's also the guy who I talked about earlier, who carved off part of his flesh to turn his bones into a stabbing implement. Now, you'd hoped he was gone after Volume 12, Autumn Frost, where one of the characters sliced off his other hand and caused him to fall down a waterfall. But then it was revealed in Volume 15, Trickster, where he found out that, oh, he's not dead. And it's one of those instances where you realize, okay, this guy should have died. I hope he's dead. And bringing them back seems like a mistake. Demon Lair 2 basically shows that not only is he back in a proper sense, but he's also going to be free to work out in the modern world. He has also recruited one of the characters from one of the series' earliest arcs, on Silent Wings, to assist in his sword fighting, because as Shira has no hands anymore, he's got to find a proper swordsman to do his stuff. And the person he recruits, the problem with this is that it's also opening up a storyline that I feel should have been closed. Period. That this arc of On Silent Wings is all about forgiving and trying to get past the grief of achieving vengeance. And as Demon Lair 2 ends, it realizes that ending right there is undone. So on one hand, I'm not entirely sure about Summer's decision to bring this back, but he displays enough storytelling skill in these last 2 volumes that I'm willing to follow him, I'm willing to see where he goes with this, to see this this decision to bring back this character actually pans out in the long run. But overall, it's even if you're following the series and you're starting to lose patience with it, I will tell you that the last 2 volumes, Demon Lair 1 and 2, will make you a believer again. You'll see that Samura does have a plan. He knows what he's doing. Well, okay, he's seen knows what he's doing, but he's got his own plan that he's following, and he's going to follow that to the best of his ability. And I'm more than looking forward to the next volume, Barefoot, Volume 22, which is supposed to arrive in January. Just to see, okay, now this arc is over, what's the fallout going to be? Where are we going to go from here?
Right.
So, I'm done with that. I'm following it to the end, and more than anyone else, this is a series. With most stuff I read, I'm saying, this is just my opinion. If you don't like it, I respect your opinion. But with Blade of the Immortal, I gotta admit, if you say, that series sounds stupid, but I'm gonna say, yeah, it's only because you haven't read it yet, jackass. This is, like I said, this is a series, it's one thing else, I would recommend you read this. Even if you don't like manga, pick this up. And it's also one of the rare series that is still being released unflipped. Well, not quite unflipped, because of the way Dark Horse translates things according to the mangaka. They actually cut his panels apart and reposted in a left to right fashion. So it's technically not flipped, but it still reads left to right. So if you got a problem with that kind of thing, then don't worry about it. You're not going to have any problem with how it's done here.
Right.
So, what I'm saying is, buy this manga. It's 21 volumes. If you start reading it, it's you're just gonna be disappointed. Oh, it's only 21 volumes. God damn! I wish there were more. Okay, but I've talked about enough of how I love this series, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night right now. Okay, see you later, everyone.
See you next time.